All right. Hello, everybody. How you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. Looks like we still have a few people that are popping on. So as a few people are popping on, I want to introduce you guys to Miss Akasha Wolf. You guys don't already know her, which I'm sure most of you already do. Miss Akasha, we'll go ahead and let you kind of introduce yourself. Let us know about your channels and things of that nature. Also, you guys, I do have her YouTube link down below in the description box. You guys can go ahead and subscribe right after this. So, like I said, I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we'll hop right on into the interview. So, go ahead, Miss Akasha Wolf.
Hey everybody, my name's Akasha Wolf, and I come from a family of witches. And what that means is basically most of the women in my family, not necessarily saying that it's just for women, it's just what's happened in my family.
Right.
We have this attraction to the craft, and we've all practiced it, and we have abilities. So it just came natural into our life. But for us, it's like everyday life. And I've come to expand my knowledge and try to share it with everybody in a positive way and make it to where people can express themselves with magic as well. So I think that's really cool.
That is
And
awesome.
sorry, I have like a lot of anxiety too. So
No. I was just gonna say I've been watching you for probably it has been at least 5 years, if not more than that. So for me, this is almost like a full circle moment because I feel like I'm very like confident in my craft now. And for the most part, like I said, you were the first one that I started watching like way back. So first of all, I want to thank you for all of your videos and stuff that you have put up because, like I said, it has not only helped me, but I am pretty sure it has helped so many others out there, especially beginners who are looking into
yeah,
becoming a witch and learning what it's all about. So again, just thank you for all you've done because I'm sure
yeah,
many others out there.
yeah. I'm sorry. Like, I've been going through like a lot lately.
Yeah.
So the craft has always been like my way to kind of be sane and be
Yeah.
back to myself. And when I hear stuff like that, it really helps me continue to do what I do because there's been so many things in life that's been really making me wonder if I was going in the wrong direction because it just seemed like things are going so good and then the biggest wall hits me.
Right.
And I've always been able to stand back up, but recently it hasn't been something that directly hits me. It hits a
Right.
lot of people I care about, and that includes you guys and everything that's going on right now. It make I have nothing to cry about too because everyone's
Yeah.
going through something. So
But
I'll
yeah,
calm down now.
don't even worry about it. Honestly, like, oh, that's touched me as well. But again, I just sorry if it's coming in and out because I kind of see that here on StreamYard. It's like it's doing that thing where it pauses. So I'm sorry, guys, if the audio and if everything is going a little crazy right now. Forgive me. We're going to do our best to get through this. But yeah, okay. So if you don't mind, do you want to start the interview already, like with a couple of questions? Like I said, I know you're going through a lot right now, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
ready.
thank you for all that you've done. 'Cause like I said, I feel more confident now in what I do, and not only that, but I'm not afraid to call myself a witch now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It really
exactly.
give you that confidence. And so again, I just wanted to make sure that I thank you before anything else.
And I appreciate it, and like I love all of you guys, and I want to thank you and everybody for like still kind of like letting me know you're around
Yeah,
because there's a lot of times you get lost in like cyberspace and
yeah.
you lose sight of a lot of stuff. And I think that I got really sucked into cyberspace for a second that I lost my way.
Mhm.
But I'm back.
Yes, it happens. Don't worry. We all, go through those moments where we're kind of like, what am I doing? But then we like snap back into it. And it's like, wait, where have I been the last couple of
Mhm.
years? Like, you know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
completely agree. It's completely normal. So going back to your family, would you say you have been a witch pretty much since childhood because, your family practices? Or when did you first like initially start is my question.
So there's been like a lot of confusion with this because there's a difference between like I think you can say like witchcraft that's kind of like inherited
Right.
because you grow up with certain practices that are family tradition as well. And
Mm-hmm.
then there's the modern witchcraft, like, with Wicca and everything. And
Right.
that starts to get more like set into particular boxes a little bit, but it's an
Mhm.
umbrella, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went from a weird transition between like my family witchcraft to breaking into all the like roots of witchcraft, and
Right.
that wasn't just ours, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so when I was young and growing up, it wasn't like something different to us, or to me anyway, because you could talk about it like nothing.
Yeah.
But the only time it started becoming something that I needed to know and understand was when we were starting to go to school,
Yeah.
because the society sees things differently, and they didn't want us to necessarily be seen as crazy if there was some things that we said. But even then, we're children, we're still going to say things.
Exactly.
So I think I would say that probably when I got to where I was old enough to like read and understand, uh, was when I really understood what witchcraft was and how it was, I guess, different in a way with everybody. So
Yeah.
the beginning of it, I would have to probably say, is maybe like when I saw my first spirit, and
Okay.
that could be when I was about 4 or 5 that I could remember anyway. But for me to remember, I remembered because I was scared,
Right.
and it made me cry. And then my grandmother sat with me and she explained everything to me. And she was telling me how I could protect myself and all the different ways I could do it. And then my mother did the same thing. Then they got more open with their stories, because I did notice that they tried to keep some of the spirit stuff away from us because they didn't want to like force us into something, you know what I mean? Because they know it's not for everybody.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
Indeed.
it's not forced. We just
Yeah.
live our life.
Uh-huh. So then you saw your first spirit at 4 or 5. That is awesome. So ever since then, do you do mediumship? Is that something that you actually do within your craft, or is that kind of separate from your craft?
It's hard because there's different opinions
Yeah,
about mediumship
exactly.
in cultures, families, and everything.
Mhm.
And for me, I have experienced mediumship and like actually having it happen to me multiple times. Forcing it, though, is something I don't do yet, because even though I feel like I've gotten a lot of knowledge, I
Mhm.
like to take my time and see how things go first. I like to treat every spell and everything that I do with magic like science.
Mhm.
And I honestly think that science is just a translation of magic. Like, magic, we're just like, oh yeah, we did this thing, boom. And then science is like, but this is how it happened, Like they can get the details, the machines to see the things that not everyone can. So
Exactly. Well, I love that. That is awesome. So then, let me ask you this: with your witchcraft, what are some of your favorite things to do within that?
within my practice,
Yeah, within your practice.
my main thing is helping people.
Mhm.
And it is whatever that means to them.
Right.
Because I used to think that it was just helping people that needed love, helping people that needed health, or things like that. But then I noticed that it was just the fact that I was helping somebody is what gave me the drive in my craft to move forward and keep going. And even things that happened to people around me push
Mhm.
me to create new spells, new rituals, and to move forward and understand and learn new things.
Yeah.
And this whole thing with, you know, I don't
Yeah.
know, the thing that shall not be named, I guess, because YouTube. Um, with this whole thing, it threw me through this massive loop that sent me into where I used to be,
Yeah.
sitting around with my books and reading and learning and digging. But the bad thing is that bad stuff happened during that time, and
Mhm.
I was stressed at the same
Yeah,
time.
I'm sure.
So
I'm
it,
sure.
it I felt like I went a little crazy for a second because of just I didn't understand how much just stress could affect
Yeah.
everything. It's
Every
insane. Yeah. It
yeah.
like it can become it can become like this whole different being within you, like just stress itself. And that's how I kind of saw it. And I was like, try to push it away with positive energy, dragon's blood, like anything stage. I was whew, doing everything to feel better.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. So going back to, when you first started, do you remember the first spell that you ever did and like what the outcome was of it? I know
I love that you asked that. Ah, okay, so protection spells was like always the first, and they worked, but you don't really get to see them kind of like work. You just know, hey, they didn't show up, we're good, or I didn't get hit, we're good.
yeah.
So I think the one that I would like to bring up is because I did this spell with my little brother,
Uh-huh.
and it was me and my brother. Well, me and him. Well, he's my little brother at the time,
Yeah.
but me and him, we had lost our dog,
Oh.
and we really, really wanted a new dog, and it just didn't seem like that was gonna happen.
Mhm.
So me and him were like, you know what? Let's do a spell. Like, let's make up a spell. And we literally got these little fake plastic cups. We got mud and some water. We did the whole thing like clockwise inside the teacup and everything. And
Right.
then we went over to the gate. That's where we wanted to go. And we went to the gate, and then we said what our wish was. But
Uh-huh.
at the time, I didn't tell him to do the dog thing. We were trying to make our own wishes, but we both knew we were going to pick a dog.
Yeah.
But so I told him that we need to whisper into the cup our
Mhm.
wish,
Yeah.
and then we're going to give it to the earth.
Right.
So we walked up to the gate. We took turns because I wanted it to be left to turn our back and never look back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he went first, and then I went second, and then that was it. So we
Yeah.
just did the wish, threw the mud on the ground at the gate, and
Mhm.
then left. The
Mhm.
very next day, and it sounds insane, and we couldn't believe it. It was the very next day.
Uh-huh.
Our mom was acting funny, and she picked us up, and then we went home, and they didn't know what we did. They did not know. This was like, we had like a lot of time in the backyard. Like, we would just hang out there forever. So there's no way they could know.
Yeah.
They it was so nice back there. Anyways, but so the next day we come home and we hear crying, like, from Lady and the Tramp when they first got Lady, that whining she did, we heard that. And they hid her behind the couch because it was like one of those like circle ones, and it had this big hole in the back. So she
Uh-huh.
could sit there perfectly fine, but he hid her over there. And
Yeah.
we went and found her, and we had a new dog. And we named her Lady because she sounded just like her.
Yeah. Oh, that is so awesome. And then you never told your family, like, what you did, though, before that?
Well, I think it's come up in conversation, like, randomly here and there, but I don't think that they ever actually listened to the fact that we had done that. And
Right.
I think maybe I'll bring it back up to my mother because there's a couple of things recently we've been talking about that it's just, it's brought back a lot of really good memories. And then she's also shared like a lot of really cool new things with me that I didn't know about. So,
Wow, awesome. Okay, so, I guess leading with that, I just come up with questions that kind of come along with the conversation, you know? What are some of your favorite tools to use, with your craft? Because I know a lot of people want to certain tools or whatnot, so what are some of your favorite ones that you like to use?
So I love tools.
Yeah.
And because I think that I'm more of like I like to do things from like a scientific standpoint, and I like to dig so much and find so much more information. It's
Mhm.
difficult for me to just pick one tool because I'm constantly getting new ones because I
Yeah.
want to play with them and be like, why does that work for you? I want to know why, like, why do you want to use that tool? For
Uh-huh.
me, I would have to say tarot might be my favorite, but it's not necessarily in the craft. It's
Yeah.
kind of just, I know it's a big part of my craft. And
Mhm.
it's part of what drives me because I use my cards to kind of get an understanding a little bit more of what's going on with somebody, and then
Yeah.
I'm able to go from there to understand what spell to do. And usually when I'm doing readings, I have a whole spell or ritual come to me
Mhm.
if that person needs it. And
Right.
then once I have that whole vision, I write it down, I set it all up, and then I give it to them. And then
Uh-huh.
from there, I ask them, just tell me if it works for you. And then I use that information, I put it in my book of shadows to save. So that way, I share it with everybody else.
Right.
I just need to know, though, that it worked out. And if it didn't, I want to know why, you know?
Uh-huh. Yeah. That is awesome. Yeah, because I know, like, me, I'm mainly attracted to candles. I love candle magic and also
Hmm.
cauldron magic, but I think that's partially because I'm a fire sign, for me, that really, like, I'm attracted to the fire, you know what I'm saying? So, like, that's why I
Yeah.
those are my apart from tarot, like, with my actual craft,
Hmm.
the tools that I feel like I'm most attracted to, I guess, you know?
Yeah, it's so hard. I feel like it always changes depending on what's going on because I notice that even like my spirit animal is a wolf,
Yeah.
but then I also get like these visits from things and other stuff,
Yeah.
and it's like they kind of come in as signs. And I think the most recent sign I've had was a moth.
Mm.
And this moth, it was on my I have this like little section that has all my pens and everything and my stickers because I journal. Not much anymore though.
Me too.
But but so when I journal, all my crap's right there. He
Right.
was sitting there and he was living life, just sitting with my stuff. And I'm like, "Are you alive though?" And I'm looking at him and he's moving and I'm like, "Yes, this is where you live now." And I would grab my pens and everything. He wouldn't leave.
Mhm.
And before this, I was having an amazing time. And then he left.
Uh-huh.
He left. And then I got everything right there. The
Really?
phone call and everything just went boom.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it was just crazy. And when I saw him, I had a feeling. I'm like, I know you're telling me something. And then in those days, it was like 11:11, 3:33, 4:44, constantly. Every time I would look, and I'm like, "Yep, I'm going crazy, you guys. That's it. I'm just crazy." But then it all happened, and
Yeah.
ah, it was.
Wow. This is one of
But
those cool
yeah,
once in a way. Yeah.
yeah, and then the octopus too.
Mhm.
I've been going through a lot with like magic and testing magic and stuff like that, and I'm beginning to kind of work on something with tattoos and magic.
Ooh.
And I think the most recent thing beat me up hard. I
Mm.
think it caused an awakening or growth that I wasn't ready for right away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
understandable for sure.
yeah.
So, I guess along with that, have you ever gone through a period of time when you felt like your intention or that your magic was just not coming out the way that you wanted it to? Or is that too deep of a question?
No, I'm thinking because there's a bunch of um. I try to think of things positively as best as I can,
Me too.
and especially recently, I've been very, very hardcore about it because
Right.
of my mental state. I want to stay positive.
Yeah.
So I need it to actually kind of stand out to me as something that made me feel like it didn't work out. And it's sounds bad, but I would have to say probably it wasn't necessarily my spell. It
Yeah.
was a family spell.
Uh-huh.
And that one I don't think that one kind of went the way we had intended it, but I don't think that that was us. There was this different energy going on there
Mhm.
that I think had more so to do with the way the universe wanted things to go. And when we were trying to step in and kind of like clean up a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
I can't say everything in details because at the end of the day, these are people's, you know,
Yeah.
stuff that we can't share.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but yeah, it didn't go as intended because it wasn't our place.
Right.
It wasn't our place. And that's something that you begin to learn the more you practice, you
Mhm.
know, when something just is not your place. So,
Yeah, I only ask
yeah.
that question because I know I have sometimes people come to me like, "Oh, like, my spell didn't work. What did I do wrong?" Or, like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
I always have those
Yeah.
questions. And I'm like, "Well, sometimes maybe it's either not the right timing or maybe it just wasn't meant to be." Like, you really have to take those things into consideration, like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I mainly ask because I do get that question, like, quite often, you know?
Well, there it can be a lot of things. I made a video on it because
No, that
a
too.
lot of
I
yeah, there's like so much that you could say that could make a spell not work out the way you want it to, or just not work at all.
Mhm.
And it's hard because when you start trying to give people so many explanations, all it
Mhm.
does is just creates more doubt. And I
Yeah,
think, because at the
yeah.
end of the day, it's like just get up and try again. You
Yeah.
know, let's give it another go. Because at the end of the day, if if you're doing the craft well,
Mhm.
and what I mean by that is like you don't have to spend a lot of money for the craft.
You no, you don't.
So it's cheap. It could be very cheap. If the first spell didn't work out, let's do it again. Come on, bust out the salt, the
Yes.
dirt. We got dirt outside. We got air in the there. So
We have everything we need. Let's do it.
yeah. And then like you yourself, your energy, that's what you got, and that's your power, and you have the earth, you got everything. Okay. And
Yeah.
that's what we need to understand is we literally have everything. And we constantly have things trying to throw this crap in our face to be like, no, you don't though. And
Mhm.
it's all a lie. We
Yeah.
have everything we need.
Mhm.
It's just if you really want something, you're going to find it.
Oh,
That's just how I see it. You're going to get it and you're going to find it.
yeah. Indeed. I'm the same way. I try to tell people the same thing too. Like, look, it can be a number of things, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I always
Hmm.
try to tell people too, like, when you are doing spell work, make sure that you're in a good place to do it. And I know that's
Hmm.
not always the case because sometimes, like you said, things just come up and sometimes you just need to do it like right then and there. But it's
Yeah.
always a good thing to make sure that your energy is, like content, your energy is good, and that way, everything can go like smoothly. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
When it
Yes.
comes to, like, a number of things also.
It's so extremely important, and I've come to realize that a lot now lately because I was getting into a bad place. I think the job I was working, it's like it did a lot of positive and it did a lot of negative at the same time.
Right.
And it I ended up gaining a lot of weight and everything, like just everything went out of whack, especially with my practice because I didn't really have time. And
Yeah.
then when I did have time, I was like laying in bed, be like, okay, let me just try some mala beads, and then I'd be like, I'm out.
Yeah,
There's no point. So
I
it
feel
was
you.
just really hard. And
I
I
think
don't
we
know.
those moments though, like, when you're like, okay, because I know me, I like to do stuff, like, on certain days for
Hmm.
certain energies or you know what I'm saying? Like, I like
Yeah.
to use the days of the week as, like, okay, like, as, like, a starting point to do it
Yes.
on that day. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like that
Yes.
helps. But there you
Yes.
have your days sometimes when you're just like, "You know what? I think I'm gonna save it for next week," and that's fine, like, you know?
Exactly. And you know what? At the end of the day, though, like if you are preparing something and like, let's say, like you felt like you put everything into getting it ready and it just doesn't feel right,
Yeah, that too.
don't do it. Just
Mhm.
don't do it. It's telling you something and you need to just listen and don't do it. Like if it's not like this dark energy, because sometimes I do get these almost other things that try to influence
Yeah.
the the fact that you do something.
Yes,
But
exactly.
if you are doing something and you don't feel good, like you're like, I'm sick today, I got allergies or something like that, or your mom's sick, you want to go spend time with her, do that. Don't sit there and put that energy into that spell because it's going to make your stuff not good. And if something does happen, you might not like it either. So it's
And
better to just sit
some
back, relax, try again.
yeah, sometimes too, the way you're feeling could be a sign,
Hmm.
along with that, like, maybe now's not the right time or just do it later, like, focus on something else, like, you know what I'm saying? I always try to tell people that too. Sometimes it is a sign on how you're actually feeling physically, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the more you learn, there's so much to learn
Yeah.
that the more you learn, you're going to make so many connections.
Yes.
And it's going to make you understand the practice, people, the
Mhm.
world, like everything better. And then it's going to make you want to love everybody more
Yeah.
because everyone is so unique and they have so many great ideas and
Mhm.
people people can be so freaking amazing, but they can also drive me so crazy at the same
Oh,
time.
trust me, I know. I feel I'm an empath also, so I can generally feel other people's, like, feelings. So
Mhm.
that's why I say sometimes for me, I can't be, like, in a crowd of people because it's just, like, too much. But then I've learned to, like, over the years, I've learned to just, like, not block it out, but try to, like, simmer it down, like, a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Are
And
you an
then
empath as well?
huh?
Are you an empath as well?
Yeah, that's why I got really major anxiety issues because I think it's like I think it's because it's not just me anymore, like my feelings, it's kind of like my mind is there too because I've seen so many things happen. I read the cards and I see so many situations.
Yeah,
And it's like it's really hard for you to not sometimes come up to the negative conclusion. And
yeah,
sometimes that thought sits in your mind and it kind of breaks your heart a little bit that that's something that can happen. And then
right,
if it does, it hurts even more. And
exactly.
I think that being an empath and also loving to learn
Mhm.
is kind of like a good thing and a
Yeah,
bad thing if you don't balance it out right. You have
exactly.
to stay healthy.
I know exactly what you mean. So so do you do anything to help with that also, with your anxiety? Do you have any sort of rituals that you like to, like, calm yourself down? Because I know a lot of people in my chat too suffer from anxiety as well. My husband suffers from anxiety. He literally has had anxiety back to brain. So that's what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
Do you do anything in regards to that to help it?
Yeah, so because of how bad my stress and anxiety has gotten, it's caused me to grind my teeth so bad that like
Right.
oh, it's hard for me to even like talk sometimes to like have my teeth together because
Yeah,
it hurts.
yeah.
So what I started doing to help with my anxiety was instead of beating up my fingernails and my inner lip, I would take my tongue and press it to the roof of my mouth.
Okay.
And what I was doing with that is when you do that, one, it helps get your face adjusted to the way it should be because your skull has all these sutures that cause your skull to move around.
Right.
And there's science coming up about putting pressure to the roof of your mouth and
Mhm.
how it may even change your energy. It's like a pressure point as well.
Right, yeah.
And on so many levels, one, you're helping your face,
Mhm.
two, you're helping your anxiety, and it's creating a new habit that helps you take pressure off of your jaw.
Okay.
So if you make that a habit every
Yeah.
time you get anxiety, it will it'll kind of be your pacifier in a way. You can create pacifiers when it comes to anxiety. And this one is an amazing pacifier. And I know you said rituals and everything like that. Rituals is going to be incense.
Right.
Any type of incense is like not any type, but one that calms you, feels good. And also, there are certain herbs and everything you can burn that will help as well. Teas. So, herbs is going to be the thing when it comes to anxiety.
Yeah.
And there's those special botanicals, the magical botanicals that you know what I'm talking about. Some places you can't have those, but there's those too, and that does help with anxiety as long as you are aware of terpenes.
Right.
Terpenes too can help with anxiety. But
Mhm.
this is really good for anxiety. It helps you have something to dabble with. So whenever you feel like you're going to freak out,
Yeah.
boom, colors, focus, and then you can dabble and it makes your brain focus on something.
Something, yeah,
So, yes, and it's a
exactly.
puzzle.
Uh-huh.
So try to solve it.
Yeah.
And if your husband is interested, my boyfriend's got a YouTube channel and he can learn. And this has helped me a lot too. I've been trying to find so many pacifiers because it's like every time something comes up, it's like I need a new kind of mini pacifier, but
Yeah.
healthy ones.
Yeah.
Healthy.
Mhm. That's awesome. See, for me, to help calm my stress, because I don't really get anxiety, not like my husband who gets it really bad. For me, it's more so just like stress and my mind like bottling up at like too much. So for me, I like to sit down and draw. 'Cause that helps me focus and it helps me like really be like, okay, like I need to get this right. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, and I'm the same way. Like I really used art as a way to express myself and help me with my anxiety. And I think that that's how I found my way to YouTube.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that when it came to my journaling, I needed to back down because then I was like writing with rage, you know? And I'm like, no, no, no. I got too much intention behind these words. I'm not writing no more. So I started to try to do different things. Even the mala beads. I was doing my malas and chanting, and that helped me out a lot, especially before sleep.
Mhm.
Before sleep, making sure I was chanting was so helpful when I was at my worst. I
Yeah.
don't do it as much anymore now because I'm trying to get back to dreaming,
Yeah.
because I stopped dreaming on purpose. And what I mean by that is I would purposely make sure I got so tired that I just literally can't remember a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's because things just got so bad that my thoughts were just getting me in my sleep.
Right.
So doing the malas and everything like really helped clear energy and also get my mind focused on something else before I knocked out.
Mhm.
And since now I'm getting back to kind of like dreaming, um, I try to make it to where I'm a little bit more lucid now. So
Yeah.
that way I can kind of face whatever like subconscious thing I need to deal with that
Mhm.
I'm still working through.
Exactly. I love that. See, I started off my path through dreams also. So for me, I definitely get everything that you're saying too, because there are some nights too where I'm like, okay, I try to block the dreaming. So I just get again, like you said, I literally understood. You get so tired that you're just not gonna remember it. That's so
Yes.
funny, I
Hmm.
go through sometimes because, like you said, everything in your head is just like too much at one point. You literally just want to rest,
Yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. It's so scary because you're literally running from yourself. And
Yeah.
then it's hard to run from yourself. You got to live with yourself, you know? And I've always tried to live that life of like, if you can't love yourself, then nobody, like, how do you expect anyone else to love you, And it's a bad thing sometimes, because sometimes you need somebody to tell you how great you are,
Yeah.
But it's like in that moment, I'm like, how am I my biggest problem right now? It's like
Yeah.
we've been together this whole time. Things been going great. Why now we have problems? It's just it's crazy. But
I
I
feel
created a new balance,
yeah.
and exercise has helped. And I've kind of found like this weird new like super spiritual connection to pole.
Really,
So yes.
I've been wanting to do that too. Oh my gosh.
Let's put it this way. We are going to meet one day. There's no doubt about it.
Yes.
So when we do, I will have a pole on me and we are going to have some fun.
Yes. Because I do you watch The Witch of Wonderlust also? Have you
Honestly, I literally when I was before we were gonna do this, I was just kind of looking online, looking at pole videos, and I
uh-huh.
actually came up across her pole videos, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like I got to make the connection, so I'm aware of her. Yes.
And yeah, I love every time she posts something, I'm like, it makes me wanna learn, like, even more, and I'm literally getting to the point where, like, okay, I just gotta do it. Like,
It's so much more though, and that's what makes me so crazy because it's hard for me to I live in Vegas, okay?
yeah,
And pole in Vegas, everyone just has their set mind of what that is.
yeah,
And it's like at the end of the day, Chinese pole was before pole dancing. And if you know about that, it was the men's sport originally.
yeah,
So it's a warrior's thing.
yeah,
It's spiritual. It's freaking dope. So it
exactly.
can go beyond just a pole. It
Uh-huh,
can be a rope. That's just the beginning, and
uh-huh,
then it causes you to trust your body so much, like the amount of trust and connection I've built from doing that, just it I think it helped me big time it because when I got it the day before I got the phone call. So it was perfect timing for me to get that. It's something I always wanted to do. And then I started thinking to myself, it's like a witch always wants to fly. Astral projection, a motorcycle going fast enough, or spinning around on a pole. A witch has to fly. Yeah. You know, if the broomstick isn't working, we got a way.
We got other things to work too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. I'm gonna do it. That's it. I'm gonna do it.
You're gonna love it. And then silks, you got to get into silks too. I'm really big into circus stuff and pushing the limits. Of course, like I love magic. I love the human body, and like it's just so capable of so much, and it's awesome.
Exactly. I love it. Definitely. I'm gonna get into it. I know my husband can do it. Like
He can do it. The motorcycle boss, he does it too, and he's good too. Yeah,
I love that.
And it was helping him lose weight. You can watch videos on a Chinese pole because it helps the men get in different positions than the women, because women are more flexible than men usually, you know. So yeah, usually. But for him, you know, watching another man do it made it easier because his grips and everything were better. He knew what skin needed to touch and what was just muscle and junk. Yeah. So you guys will have a blast, and you'll have competitions on who can do what move.
We were very, I don't want to say we're very competitive, but my family, for the most part, is very competitive. So whenever I get home, I can get that way. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Him more so, I think he's more competitive than I am. But
Yeah.
when it comes to like us together, we get that like silly state. We're just like, I'm gonna win. Like, no.
Oh, me and the motorcycle boss, we have to like we make things into a competition all the time, but it's because we love each other, you know. And then when you do it with family and friends and stuff, and it's all out of good fun, it's because you love each other, you know, and that's awesome.
See, I love that. Okay, so look, he's here in the comments.
I haven't even looked at the phone. Let me see. Okay. Oh, he's also 10 Cuber now.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, he's got his channel.
That is awesome. I have to go subscribe. And hello, everybody else in the chat. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt the chat. I'm just really into the conversation right now.
We're having fun.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so going back to tarot, because that's my thing, obviously. So with tarot, do you have like a certain strategy that you like to do when you read cards, or do you read intuitively?
So I noticed that over time I've kind of not had a ritual with the cards, and I have so many now because it's kind of become a thing that people know that I read tarot cards. And then since there was a time I wasn't charging at all, a lot of my donations would be different tarot cards, and like they would travel somewhere and like, look, I found this, here you go, you know. So it's turned into a thing where it's like, if you come to see me, it's like I talk to you, we get a little bit of an energy or whatever. I don't talk to you too much because I don't want to get too much information.
Yeah.
But then basically I kind of let you pick out what deck you want.
That is awesome.
And then when you pick out the deck you want, we go from there. And then sometimes you'll keep the deck in your hands, you'll pull out a card and show it to me, and I'll look at it and I'll tell you what I see. Or it'll be, I'll take the deck, I'll sit down with you, and we have a whole thing. It's like, it becomes more of like you're coming to visit your aunt. You know what I mean? And then we sit down and we talk a little bit and we try to get things worked out.
I love that. So then how many decks do you have, like, you know, in your collection with that?
I don't know. Like, I know I've got 10 or more, but it's like, I don't know. It's because sometimes I do give some away because there's some people I'm like, you're gonna love doing this. This is what you need in your life right now. And then boom, here you go, take this. And so it's hard for me to tell because they come and go. And then it's just like a collection that comes and goes. It's the same thing kind of like with my books and crystals. It's a lot of I receive them, and there's some that are mine forever, and then there's some that I was always meant to pass down for a certain reason.
Right.
So
I'm that way with my crystals too. I have like this little jar that I have, and there are some that I use, and there are some that I keep away, just like you said, just in case. Like I also like to give like little gifts, like of little pendants with the
yes,
crystals.
yeah,
If I feel like somebody needs like a certain energy, like a loving energy, I'll give them a rose quartz. Or if they need more luck, like I'll give them a green aventurine. Like just as a little like here.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, and exactly, and that's it makes such a big difference for people. And I know like the most recent thing was with my boyfriend, his cousin. We were talking about crystals and everything, and she was very enthusiastic about it, but she never really considered herself someone who was interested in the practice completely.
Right.
And I handed her 4 element candles,
Uh-huh.
and I gave her a couple of crystals, and she loved my angel deck. She gave me a reading with my angel deck, my
Oh,
angel oracle deck, and
uh-huh.
she wanted it. I could tell, and I'm like, I can't give this to you. I'm sorry, my grandma gave these to me. And then I ended up finding out they don't really sell them anymore. They become expensive. You kind of
Yeah.
have to get them used.
Mhm.
So I told her though that I would get her one, and I did. And
Yeah.
then
Oh,
she came back to me and she told me like when she's having a bad day, she sits down and she does her own reading. And she
mm,
says it's helped her kind of like wean off other habits that she had developed to help her with getting through certain things.
yeah.
So tarot can be also a tool for, your anxiety and stress and stuff, but
Right.
you have to put it in there what you can handle, because there's sometimes the cards they tell you straight, and then there's sometimes they'll be cryptic just because they're like, I love you, I don't want to hurt you, but you got to stop.
If you've ever seen my lives, oh my gosh, like that's literally how I am. I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, I'm gonna tell you exactly what I see because I don't like to, beat around the bush. Because most of the time it's
Yeah,
here for a certain reason. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, 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 I know what you're saying. But I honestly, I've come to realize that with a lot of stuff, because it's hard when you read for family, for example.
Oh,
Like,
I don't think I've ever read for family except for my mother-in-law. She's the only one I've read for. Everybody else,
really?
no. Yeah, I
You want to
won't.
know something? I don't want to do that, what you did.
Really?
Read for your mother-in-law. Yeah.
She loved it. She
And
loved
it's not to be like bad or anything, but the thing is like you have to understand is if I read for my family,
it. Mhm.
whatever happens in my family happens in my family. This is our drama and junk like that.
Yeah.
But when you have a relationship and
Uh-huh.
then you start reading for your partner's family,
Yeah.
if there's bad things in there, and you, for example, you found out that like your uncle's cheating on your aunt or something,
Yeah.
or this and that or whatever,
Uh-huh. You're like, "No."
you live with that, that's your boyfriend, or your husband, and then you're like, I'm sorry, I just said what the card said, you know I can't do that. But I good for you though, like,
It was good. I felt like it was gonna be good anyways, like, you know what I'm saying? I didn't feel like I was gonna, like, see any of that stuff, you know?
yeah.
I was like, "Okay, let's do it." Like, you know?
So maybe that's what it is though, like maybe that's why I feel that, because when they ask, I'm like,
And yeah.
you don't want to know what the universe is trying to tell me.
Oh, no, and then too well, like, my family in general, it's not like they will ever come to me for a reading because 'cause they're very, like, Christian. They're very, like, no, no, no to any of that stuff, like, you know,
Yeah,
you're the only one. That's why I love your story so much because, you have your family that's, like, been in this for so long, so you have
yeah,
people you can go back to and, like, ask questions or be like, "Hey, what about this?" I never had that, you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's,
and
like,
that's
the opposite.
and that's something that I'm so happy about though, like I felt in time sometimes I took for granted, is that my life could suck so hard because because if I didn't have like the angel of a mother and warrior of a woman,
Oh,
and warrior of women, I my the women in my family are such warriors, and
Oh yeah.
I don't understand how my mom can stand, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
But she still does, and she still smiles, and she treats everybody the way that they should be treated.
Yeah.
And her and my grandmother, they set a really big example for me.
Yeah.
And when I see people treat good people wrong, it like really upsets me.
Me too. Me too. I get the same way. Like I always tell people that it's not my personality to like fight
Mhm.
for people, but at the same time, like you know when to step in and you know when to just be like, okay, like take a step
Yeah.
a little bit. Like I'm the same way. I like if I see anybody else like being mistreated, I'm the first one that goes and like I don't necessarily say something to the person that was mistreated them, but I go and make sure that they're okay.
Yeah. And that's
Comfort in a way, you know?
yeah. Yeah, and that's great. Like, and that's the thing, like you don't realize how just saying like, "Oh, your hair's nice," or "Oh my God, I love your eyes. They're such a pretty color." Like even just that. Like
Yeah.
that simple thing saying that to somebody can completely change their day, and I I love seeing those ripples, like when something like that you said, the ripples of that is so much joy. But then the ripples of the bad things you say, the pain that may be caused hurts. It's not good.
Mhm. Indeed.
Yeah. So be good, stay positive, love each other, and try to learn about each other. If you hate somebody, ask yourself why, you
Yeah.
know, or learn about the stuff they like, but then you might not like them more. Because sometimes I notice that people that give me a bad vibe, they end up liking everything I like, and I'm like, what does that say about me?
I mean, we've all had, those
Yeah,
situations.
yeah, it happens.
It's like completely agree, and I always try to see the good in people, you know?
Yes,
I'm always like, "Okay, well" I always try to be like, "Why are they acting like this? What is, like, the main thing
yes.
that causes them to" and I always try to, like I've always been that person. I'm an empath,
That's
you know what I'm saying?
that's
I can sense those little things, those little
exactly. And then and that's exactly it. Like you can sense it, and it's really hard when you want to like tell people about it because sometimes things come in feelings and
yeah,
sensations, and then there's just not words to describe what it is.
yeah,
So that's I think another reason why I turn to books and everything so much is because I'm trying my best to be
mhm,
able to explain myself really good because I want everyone to understand so that they can do it too.
yeah,
And then it's like, and then there might be someone out there who's better at it, and
mhm,
then if they're better at it, it's like, "Hey,
yeah,
why are you better at it? I
yeah.
wanna know why, because I wanna get better too."
Exactly, and that's where I always try to tell people, like, with everything you do, not just with witchcraft, not just with tarot, with
Yeah,
everything you do, there's always something to be learned, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, evolve.
mastered something. Like, you can get to the point to where you're really confident and that
Mhm,
you're doing good, but at the same time, you still have to have that open mindset, like, to
mhm.
things, especially from other people, you know?
I think a good teacher can become a student
Yeah.
very easy, and, like, they're adult enough to be able to be like, "I didn't know that. Well,
Yeah,
I do now, thank you," and, like,
really.
use that and then try to spread that around, like, all you're gonna do is make good things happen, hopefully, if it's a good thing.
Yeah, right. So then is there like because I know with witchcraft, there's different witches that either work with gods or goddesses or angels. Is there anything like in particular you like to work with also within your craft, like along those lines?
Okay, so I've come to realize that I'm, like, an omnist,
Uh-huh.
and, uh, basically, I find truth in all religions and stuff like that. So
Right.
because of that, I have decided that I see I just say God, you
Yeah,
know, or goddess, depending on like if I'm trying to create a type of energy. But at
right.
the end of the day, I see God
Uh-huh.
as there's no gender,
Yeah.
so it doesn't matter what you call him because he has no gender. But
Uh-huh.
I know, but I use he because that's just what I'm comfortable with, and I think it has a lot to do with things from my past. But
Right.
one day we'll learn that. So to me, I feel God is a one thing that is connected to everybody, and we all have a name for him. And sometimes it's God, sometimes it's Odin, Zeus, the universe. That's how I see it.
Right.
But
I love
I
that.
know whatever this being or force is, which to me is God. Because to me, it's the easiest term to use. It's universal. A lot of people know what that term is.
Don't even worry.
Yeah, I'm just, things are so like sensitive now, so I'm like iffy about what I say. But yeah, so I just say, God. But I do feel like that this force or God has other people, or not people, but other beings that they have created that kind of do their own jobs in a way in this universe, in this world, the way anything and everything works in connection. Everything kind of has a job, and I feel like one of those workers I work with a lot are angels, and that's what I call them. You know what I mean? So I think that I see a lot of truth in a lot of things. Let's just say that. And for me, I'm not going to try to tell you why. I'm not going to try to make you feel bad, and I'm not going to try to be like, your stuff is wrong. Because I didn't live your experience for you to like be like, for that to be right to you. There's a reason why you believe in that. Your journey led you to that point, and I was not on that journey. So I can't tell you that you're wrong. You know what I mean? So that's just how I feel about it. So my energies is spirits, the universe. Maybe I'm like a cosmic witch or something, or universe witch, I don't know. I just know that I love the craft. I love learning more, and I love moving forward in it, and I want it to be normalized. That's I think the biggest thing for me is like, for me it was normal, and then when I became an adult and had to step into society, it wasn't. And it's different all over the world in different cultures, and we get so stuck in our own little world that we don't realize that the world has ended. But it's ended for somebody else in a different way. Just because it didn't end for you right in front of your face doesn't mean it didn't. Because the fires in Australia, if you were actually standing there living in that moment, you would feel like the world has ended. So the world is so big, and the universe, there's so much to know and learn. It's hard for me to just be like, I'm this, all I know is I'm something. That's it.
I love that. See, I have the same viewpoints as you, like literally. Like I also, believe in God as like a whole type of spirit, type of thing, like who kind of has this big old energy that we have, control over. Like, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We can work with, like, what I'm saying?
Yeah, to me, it's literally like having a parent. It's a parent that, you don't really like see each other much, but that they're paying attention, and you're like, hey, Dad, Mom, I need, I need like $20 for a snack. It kind of, gets like that. And I like to see it that way, because I've noticed that in my life, talking or praying, like talking to God or praying, has just become me living. And every now and then, like, if something happens, I'm like, that was funny. That was cute. I got you. Whatever.
Like literally, I do the same thing. It is so funny though, because well, like I said, for me, like witchcraft and speaking to spirits, that was like evil, and I was like, no, you don't do that, right?
Yeah.
Growing up, I've known I've always was a witch since I was like a kid. Like literally, I remember like my first time being like, I'm a witch, and I was little, and I was like probably like 6 or 7 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, I know it's always been a part of me. I just always haven't had ability to kind of like practice it until I moved out of my parents' house, until I was like out on my own. That's when I started getting stronger, and that's when I started being like more confident. Till this day, my family still tries to intervene, and it's like, no, like that's wrong or whatever. No, like we're
Yeah.
conversation with my mom probably like 2 to 3 months ago because she found out that now I was not only reading for myself, I was reading for other people. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So she
Yeah.
like went ballistic. And I'm like, Mom, like I don't tell you what to do. Like, don't tell me what to do. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? For me, I don't feel like it's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I
As you
understand.
as you said, like don't tell other people what they're doing is wrong if you don't
Yeah.
know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I completely understand. And that's another thing like I've been kind of faced with is like something that people don't know is like my biological father wasn't like in my life the whole time, but I was aware of him and it wasn't bad blood, nothing, you know.
Mhm.
But he recently came back into my life and that kind of happened to when things were starting, you know, to go crazy, whatever.
Right.
But uh, at the end of the day, he does not have the same beliefs as my mother's side,
Right.
you know, and he doesn't know some of the stuff that his family has asked me,
Mhm.
and he doesn't know that I don't want to. I low key don't want him to be disappointed in me.
Right.
It's like, and it's so stupid because like I shouldn't feel bad about my practice,
Yeah.
but it's like I kind of feel like it's like I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
this this is me and this is what makes me happy, but I feel like because of his religion
Mhm.
I'm not enough.
Yeah.
So or I'm going to be hated or less than anyway. And that's just the ego, you know,
Right.
stepping in trying to mess me up. And
Mhm.
it's just like instead of me trying to talk about that with him right now, I can't because
Yeah.
I have too much going on. Sorry. I have too much going on with my immediate family that they're in my life right now that are hurting and I can't for me or him do
Mhm.
that because right now they need me and I
Exactly.
they need me. That's it.
Mhm. But no, I'm
So
the same way. Trust me. Like I've gone through it all. Like even like I said, my aunt too. She came at me probably like 2 months ago because we were like texting
yeah.
or whatever because she found out that I had been doing mediumship. But I've always had mediumship. Always.
Yeah.
It's always been a part of me. I've been able to see spirits, hear spirits mostly. I can mostly hear them. I see them from time to time, especially in my dreams. You know. So
Yeah.
I always had that ability, but now that I'm actually more open about it, like her too, she was like freaking out, and I was like, look, like she was throwing scripture at me, and I was throwing it back to her, like you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's like one of those things that's like, look, this is not a win-win situation, so just like
hmm
stop, you know?
Yeah. Exactly. And that blows my mind. It's like, oh, you want to throw scripture at me? I read the book. I read all of them, or not all of them, but I try. But you know, and I'm working on it. But at the end of the day, it's like if you didn't read it, you know,
Mhm.
then maybe it's like, hey, give me a second. I'll read it, figure it out. Okay, I'm sorry. I still believe in what I believe. You know what I mean? You know,
Uh-huh.
and people have to respect that. And
Yeah.
then the same thing like with my boyfriend. He's not a believer, but he
Mhm.
supports me and everything that I do and he wants to believe. He has the drive, you know? And to me though, I've come to realize that there's a certain way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it is, but I also do know why. That's partially why, like another reason we found each other. I know that there's something happening here that we're
Yeah.
gonna make happen in a good way.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
he'll be a believer. I know that. It's all good. And I know it sounds like the same thing that your aunts do it to you, but I'm not trying to hurt him or anything. It's
yeah.
like I'm letting him go with the flow. If he doesn't believe, I did my best.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? I'm the same way. Like I try to tell people that too. You know, like again, it's not a win-win situation. We're gonna believe what we want to believe. Like
Mhm.
that's it. You know?
Yeah, and it's like if you're not hurting anybody, it doesn't matter. Like just leave them alone. You ain't breaking the law. You're not hurting anybody
Yep.
or
Exactly.
yourself. like in like a really bad way that it just doesn't make sense. Because
Yeah.
I get piercings and tattoos. Some people can say that's me hurting myself, but
Yeah.
at the same time, let's good energy. That's it. Try
Exactly.
to good energy. And then if something makes you mad, something one of my teachers taught me, always ask, where's the love?
Yeah.
And then it'll make you kind of try to think of like maybe why they might have said something that
Yeah.
way, or maybe it'll make you look at yourself and be like, whoa, I think I was rude to them and that's why they acted that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get blinded by our own bull crap, and don't realize, yeah, we don't realize that we hurt people sometimes, we blind ourselves with all of our own drama. We forget everyone that's around us,
Yeah.
and it's awful.
Agreed. All right. So we've been here for an hour, so I guess I'll go ahead and just ask you one last question to just kind of, end it out. So
Okay.
if you had any advice right now, what would you give to somebody who is like a beginner in the craft or who is just trying to learn everything? What would be your main advice to them?
My main advice would be have fun,
Mhm.
but don't do it in a way that'll hurt somebody. Because I think that as young witches, we get too excited once we have our first spell work.
Yeah.
And then we start get that little power surge. We're like, oh snap, I'm gonna have this whole school down. Like, no, don't let that happen. Don't let the little TV shows get you.
That's
You be the best possible you could be.
true.
And that means as a witch as well. If you can be this bright, beautiful soul, you are going to be a very powerful witch. And you just continue to learn, continue to love, continue to practice, and try to create peace and pay attention to the earth, the universe, everything. Balance out the energies. You're good. That's the advice I have. You could do the books, you can do the videos. There's so much out there.
Oh,
But
yes.
just start somewhere. Pick up a book, pick up a deck, watch this video, subscribe to her channel, something. You
Yeah.
just got to start. Even with just buying one little crystal and using that and holding it and trying to make things happen,
Yeah.
that is the beginning of being a witch, okay?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I would say the exact same thing. I always try to tell people, try not to think too much into it at one time.
Yeah.
Pick a topic or pick something that you are most interested, and then
Mhm.
there. That's what I did. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
by little is when you start to pick up things. You're not gonna know everything, like, right off the
Yeah.
bat, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. And then with your altar and stuff, honestly, I remember I made a video about like altars.
Mhm.
Your altar can be anything. You could be your altar, your home, your room, anything. So you can wear a necklace that every time you hold it, you're like, this is my altar. I'm performing, something right now. You
Yeah,
know, there's magic. You can get so creative with it. And that's what just makes it so great. So
exactly.
just do all the things that aren't going to get you in trouble.
Or that aren't gonna backfire on you.
Or, yeah, or hurt somebody, like
Yeah.
good energy.
Well, I love that. I love that. So thank you so much, Akasha Wolf. I mean, I think I pretty much asked everything that I had in mind. Thank you.
Thank you for getting me out of my box.
Yeah.
It's been hard for me to break back on to the screen. This is like my first time kind of really video
Yeah.
for everybody else.
Mhm.
Thank you. Thank
Well,
you.
I'm glad I could do that for you. I don't know, I just had, like, this feeling. I think I saw you post something. You posted, like, a promo or something like that, like,
Yeah,
2
yeah.
days ago, right? And I saw that you were like, "Oh, like, yeah, like, I guess we're gonna start to post videos again." And I was like, "Oh, maybe now's the right time I can ask her to come on the channel."
Oh yeah. The Simple Spells series was
Yeah,
filmed years ago,
uh,
but we do have more spells coming out, and you guys are gonna love them. They're all made to be very simple, and I hope to possibly have a story time with some of the spells that I have done and
yes,
their results and how they turned out. And my favorite one is probably going to be the Money Talisman,
yeah,
because that one was kind of something that is done in the family and just in general with witches. Like if you see the spell, you're like, oh, we all know how to do that. Like it's common knowledge, and it's a good spell. It works.
Yes. Well, I love that. Well, again, thank you so much, and again, thank you for all your contribution to the witchy world.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy, and thank you for like having me show up here and stuff. I
Yes.
don't know what to say. I'm just really happy. Thank you, everybody.
We'll definitely have to plan something. Ooh, would you mind coming on again, like, later on and doing like because I like to do collaborations with tarot readings also. Would you
Uh-huh.
mind doing that also? Like, of course, probably like later on.
Today?
No, not today, but like,
Okay, yeah, yeah. Any other day, sure. Well, we can do that. It's just Motorcycle Boss has actually got mad allergies right now. So now I gotta bust out the apothecary and everything and try to get some stuff done.
my husband does too. No, not today. I just meant like we'll plan something for the future because I like to do tarot collaborations as well too.
Okay. Oof.
Yeah.
So am I gonna be reading? Or
If you
you?
want to, yeah, or we can we can plan something along with that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I took a break from readings because of everything. Like that's what I'm like.
Whenever you're ready, no pressure.
Yeah. We'll talk about it. We'll get to it. But
For
thank
sure.
you so much, you guys. I had fun.
Yes, well, you guys make sure you guys go subscribe to her. Like I said, the link to her channel is in the description box below, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna have more people because I know right now the timing was a little bit different than when I go on. So people are like, "What?" Make sure you guys go subscribe to her, please. Like I said, she has years of content already, like done, but she's obviously doing some more stuff for the future too. So get excited, all right? And like I said, we'll definitely have something, for the future ahead to have her back on the channel. So thank you
We're
guys.
gonna meet.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time, all right? Bye.
Bye.